Welcome to this week's watch list review with Spartan Trades. So in these sessions, we talk about the overall market, some tickers on watch for tomorrow, as well as some tickers to watch for the rest of the week. So the chart that I have pulled up here, this is /ES, right? And this is the future that SPY follows and gives us insights as to how the overall market is moving. So this week, we have a really simple technical analysis going on for the overall market. The key level that we want to see hold is right here at 3,300. So I'm just going to draw a line right across that price point, 3,300. You see we've bounced there once, twice right here on Friday, and so that is the mark to watch. There is a lot of negative news looming over the market right now, but that may already be priced in with this dip right here. So could we see more of a sell-off? Sure. But the technicals are telling me that we could also see a potential bounce here. So here's the deal. This line that we drew right here, right at 3,300. 3,300 is a hold number. So we know hold numbers like to act as natural areas of support and resistance in the market. That's point one. Point two, we've already bounced at 3,300 previously, right? That's where we got this big green candle at. So we've confirmed it once as a support, and we're looking to confirm it again as a support here. On the daily chart time frame, I usually will start my analysis on the daily and then work my way down. But on the daily chart time frame here, we're still trading over this green dotted line, and that's the 50 EMA. So that's a pretty bullish signal. This has been treated as a support here in the past. Since this uptrend kind of started. So 3 times there in the past, we're now back at that 50 EMA once again. If we go to the weekly chart time frame, right, and kind of back that up, those same price points where I marked that we bounced at the 50 EMA, we've also bounced here at the 9 EMA on the weekly. And so we're currently trading right at that 9 EMA. And then the last point, the fifth point here, if we go to the chart for SPY, and then we go to the daily chart time frame, this is really minute, but look at this gap area right here where we gapped up and then started this uptrend to the top side. When we pulled back on Friday, look right where we pulled back to. That's 331. Okay, so we're pulled back to the top side of that gap. We know that gap areas act as like hidden levels of support and resistance in the market. So the fact that we came down to that 331 mark and kind of tested it as a support, that's also like a bullish signal, right? Telling us that we may see a bounce here. So it's easy to see all of this in hindsight, sure, right? But what is it all telling us? All 5 of those things that I just mentioned are telling us that this level at 331 for SPY and this level 3,300 for /ES, they're both significant levels. So can we come down more? Sure. But the market's going to have to break those levels first. So for that reason, this is where it gets simple. Set alerts at or below 3,300 for /ES, and then just let the market dictate the direction from there. So a break below that point, obviously, we are going to start to look to short, right? We're going to go back into bear mode. We're breaking all of that support. Otherwise, this week, I'm expecting some sort of bounce or more chop, with resistance being at the next whole number above. That's going to be 3,400. So if we just extend this gray box here, that's kind of the range that we've recently been trading in. So 3,300, 3,400. Those are going to be your levels to watch going into this week. As for the watch list for tomorrow, the first one that we're going to be watching is ticker Boeing. That's BA. And these are in no particular order, by the way. All right, so BA. Let me just get my chart right here for you guys. All right, so starting on the daily chart time frame, the reason why I start on these larger time frames is because I want to identify where I like to look at where we're currently trading and then see if that's anywhere near some type of support or resistance level, right? And so if I just drew a trend line here across the bottom here of this, like right where we're recently at, you see that we've bounced here once, and this was previously a resistance and a resistance again. All right, so because we're trading at support here on the daily chart, and the overall market is potentially at a support. If the market goes green, I would kind of expect this to turn around and go green also. I'm going to jump into the 5-minute chart time frame and break this down a little further for you and tell you what levels I would be watching. Just right off the bat, I can kind of tell that 163 is a resistance. But for those of you that don't know, I'm going to back this up a few days. When you have a pattern that's formed, it can also be a hidden level of support and resistance, the point at which it breaks out at. So this is a symmetrical triangle, right? And so here's your breakdown from the symmetrical triangle, and that was kind of what pushed us into the lows. But if we drew a trend line across the middle of this symmetrical triangle, right at the breakout point, and then back that up, look at your resistance area right here and your resistance area right here. And that's going to be right at or around 163. So if I go to /ES, and let me delete this box here, we see that the market right now, right, it's kind of like gapped up from where it closed at. It's gapped up and is pushing up. So there's a chance that Boeing is going to follow suit and kind of gap up and push up. If that holds by morning, there's still a lot of time before market open, but the deal is I'm looking for this area to be broken. You know, this 163, 164 area to be broken if we trade closer to that price point by open, and then a move up to the top side. So we're looking basically for this recent range right here, a breakout of this recent range. Of course, the short trigger, going back to the daily chart, we knew that line right there has been a previous support. Even right here, it's been tested as a support. That's a pretty clear area to short below. So 156, 157 area below these lows will be our short trigger. Not super interested in shorting, but if the market is red, then I think taking a short below 160, if this opens up above 160, taking a short below 160 would be all right too. Because at that time, this becomes what's known as a green to red move. So if it opens up above Friday's closing price, which is at or around 160, right? It's green, and then it fails to hold 160 as a support. It's gone from green to red, and that's going to be our short trigger. That'll serve as our short trigger. There's no need to wait for it to get all the way down to 156, 157, right? If it's trading up here, because then we've already missed the move to the downside. If it opens up here and comes down, I would expect this to hold as a support. So on the flip side of that, an open below 160, and we'll be looking for 156, 157 to short below. All right, but mainly interested in a long since the market is up right now, and we could potentially see a bounce. 163 is going to be the mark. Oh, and another thing, guys, these levels are always they're always subject to change, and they likely do change by the morning. So take it with a grain of salt for now. Use them as guidance levels for now. Just know that the levels I'm giving you are significant, but the exact trigger levels may change by the morning. All right, that was the first one, ticker Boeing. So yeah, the range here at the bottom, looking for a potential bounce. Microsoft, Msft, is going to be the second one on the watch list for tomorrow. So just how we talked about /ES trading at 3,300 and 3,300 being a whole number. Microsoft, right, if we start on the daily chart, draw a line across the significant point that we're currently trading at, here's your support, there's a little bit of resistance, and this happens to be a whole number, 200, okay? It's trading right above some support at 200. Fundamentally, Microsoft, I don't know if you guys got the news, they did not get the deal with TikTok. That fell through. So I would kind of be expecting the share price to fall in the morning. 200 is, right now it's trading above 200. It's probably, with that news, it's probably going to open up below 200. But if it does not, 200 will be the mark, right? So we'll be looking for a short below 200, and I think we're going to split the price target in half. So the most recent resistance, on this first initial run up right here, this was at or around 190. I think taking a short from 200 down to 190 is that's kind of a big move, right? So let's split that price target in half and just say 195, right? So the price target below 200 will be 195. Below 195 will then become 190. And I'm not interested in taking this long at all, especially with that news following. I'm really looking for a short here below 200. Hopefully the play waits on us in the morning and we can get a piece of it, but we'll see where this opens up at. Just keep in mind that that 190 level, because of where this previously pushed up to and then kind of like consolidated below, that 190 level is likely going to be a support point. So if it's too much below 200 and trading closer to 190, I don't even know that at that point I would be looking to short. We may look for like a morning bounce type of deal, but we'll see. If it holds up over that mark, that'll be a great play for us. AMD, that's going to be the third one on the main watch list for tomorrow. Okay, so again, on the daily chart time frame, where are we most recently trading at, and where is the where's the closest area of support, right? So we can kind of see that that's going to be at 76 maybe, right? Discounting this wick, but if we look a little closer and just draw a line across the bottom there of that wick, this has a gap here. There's a gap in price from this candle to this candle, and that makes this a gap play, right? So we know that those gap areas, just like on SPY, how it came down, touched the top side of the gap and bounced, these gap areas like to act as areas of support and resistance. So a short below 74, and we can look for this to start to fill the gap. The reason why these gap fill plays work is because there's no price action here. Where is the trading going on in this zone? There is none, right? So where's the support and resistance? There's very little. For that reason, a break into the gap, and these stocks like to try to fill the gap. It may happen over a couple of days. It may happen in one day. That's my plan, though, is looking at a short below 74. I'm going to go to the... Actually, I need to identify right for a long trigger, because it may do this instead of failing to break down into this gap. It may reverse, right? So if it validates 74 as a support, but it's close, it's trading right now at like 76. If it validates this area as a support, we need to identify a long trigger, right? So let's kind of back this up and look, where is our resistance going to be? All right, understanding that old resistance, 3 days of consolidation here, becomes new support, support again. I think 78 is going to be our long trigger to the top side, right? So that's going to give us our validation that 76 area or the 75 area is holding, and it is now ready to move up, right? It's kind of validating that area as a support. So a break over 78, I would feel comfortable taking this long, probably up to 80 would be price target 1, and then 82. This has been trading in a very wide range. This chart looks pretty messy, but I'll kind of box it out for you. So that's where the majority of the price action is occurring, and all that I'm doing is splitting like the bottom side of this, right? That's going to be our entry level at 78. I'm splitting this this whole box in half. Right, and so my price target's going to be right in the middle, right at 80. All right, so AMD, we're looking for a long over 78 if that gap area confirms, or a short below either 75 or 74, depending on the opening price. Back to the daily chart. All right, the fourth one on the main watch list for tomorrow is Wkhs Workhorse. This is one that we traded quite a bit last week, and the pattern here is still relevant, right? So it's range trading. It's pushed up, recently broken out and over the all-time high here at 23, ran up to about 24.50, 25 area, and has since pulled back and started to build this range here between, what is this, 22 and 24, okay? That's where the price action is occurring on the daily chart time frame. If we move into the 5-minute, we see this pushed up as far as 25. So there's a few different triggers here. Okay, we can look to play this long over 24 if it doesn't open up above that price point. Look to play it long over 24 with either 24.50 or 25 being price target. I think if it opens up above 24, we can look for it to validate 24. We want to see it validate 24 as a support at some point, and then probably play it long over 24.50 up to 25. And so the price here at 25, that's kind of like the true all-time high, but on the daily chart that price action's not displaying, right? So 24.50 is going to be the mark. For that reason, alerts don't go off after hours. 24.50 will be the mark to take it long with an open above 24, and I think every $0.50 is probably, or every dollar mark after that is probably going to be a resistance point. So every 50 cents that this moves up, I would be looking to scale some off of the trade. But yeah, this looks great. It's been range trading at the all-time highs. If this thing had just kept cooking and smoking, going all the way up to the top side, I wouldn't be interested. But because it's pulled back and done this consolidation thing, what it's doing is essentially building a base for the next leg up, right? So understanding that old resistance should become new support. An open or a move above 24, where this resistance line is at, 24 should then become the new support. It should validate that and then continue the move topside. All right, guys, so let's talk about some side charts. While I'm doing that, feel free to type up anything here in the chat section that you want me to review. I just ask that you format the review tickers like the watch list with levels that you're watching, and then why you think it may have potential. So for the first side chart, we're gonna be talking about Tesla. This chart isn't telling me a whole lot right now, but we're just gonna keep alerts set at the whole number. So a break over 400, I think, is a bullish move here to the top side. It's still trading over the 50 EMA. A lot of these tickers are pulling back to the 50 EMA. So, we saw that with AMD. We saw that with /ES. I think Apple's right at that price point. So we're seeing a lot of this same formation. But yeah, it's pulled back. It's kind of bounced, rejected 400 one time, and now trading like right in the middle of where this old resistance was located at, 340, and where the new resistance is at 400. So keep an alert set over 400 for the play to the top side. Battery Day is something that's kind of being hyped up. It's, it comes out, I think that's the 22nd after hours. But an event like that, these fanatics like to run the stock up into events like that. So we may very well see a run over this 400 price point. Keep that alert set. When it goes off, we'll revisit the play then. Dkng. All right, this one, I don't know that I really like the price action on it. It's kind of like done this push up and pull back thing for quite a while. But it is now trading at a legitimate area of resistance. That's going to be 44. I know it's 44.79 is your all-time highs here. We're just going to ignore the 79 cents and say 44 is going to be our main level of resistance, right? Because that's where it's hit. It's hit 44 1, 2, 3, 4 times and only hit this price point once. So a break over 44, I think that this definitely has potential to test these all-time highs and maybe even break out and continue to run. Right now, it's trading, what is this at, 41.50. Wait until it gets back up to 44. So set an alert at that price point and plan to play this trade when it gets there, if it gets there. SBUX, that's Starbucks. I think I have to go back to the weekly chart to show you this overwhelming area of resistance. Okay, so I'll leave these shaded boxes here. We've talked about this previously. That's why those are there. what is this, 90? This 90 mark, that's your level of resistance. So one time it kind of like pushed up, stuttered there, and then got the move up to almost 100. Pulled back, kind of stuttered there again at 90, fell below, pushed up, stuttered at 90, pushed over, right? And so you just have a lot of this like sideways price action at this 90 mark. That's going to be your level of resistance, but it's pulled back now to an old area of resistance at around, what is this, 84. So a break is broken over 84, tested the resistance, and now pulled back. What we can do at this time is draw a downward trend line across the tops of these candles. This is also known as a bull flag pattern. I don't know if you've seen that ever before, but yeah, it's a good one to play. So the idea here is that a break over this downward trend line at 86 on volume should put this back into bullish territory, and we'll be looking to test this resistance, possibly break it at 90 again. So set an alert at 86, maybe even 87 if you want extra confirmation, and then come back to this play when it gets there. The thing is, if the market bounces, I think Starbucks has a chance to go with it. So this could be a potential swing play, right? You would just place your stop right here at like 84, right? So you have a tight stop from 80, what is this, entry at 86, stop at 84, price target of 90. That's, an easy 2-to-1 ratio right there. So keep a watch out over 86 for Starbucks, 87 extra confirmation. Netflix is the last one on the side chart watch for me. It's kind of, the chart looks messy, right? And it's been in a downtrend here. I'm looking for this 470 level to break. Not much to say here other than it's one of the few tickers that aren't still trading over, or it isn't still trading over this 50 EMA, right? And so that's kind of like a bearish sign. But it does have support here. It's trading at 480. It does have support at 470. So 1, 2, 3 areas where it's kind of consolidated around that price point. A break below 470, and I would probably look to short this back down, maybe even as far as to this 200 EMA. But make sure you have that alert set at 470. So if it gets there, we can look to take the trade then. All right, guys, so quick review. The main watch list tickers, we're looking at Boeing for a support bounce at the lows, possibly. Microsoft is going to be a news play. We want to see that 200 support fail and take it short down to 195, 190. AMD, we are looking for two different things here. AMD is going to be a short into the gap, or it's going to validate that gap as a support, bounce off the 50 EMA, and continue to move up. And Workhorse is going to be an all-time high break over the 25 area. So 24.50, 25, depends on the opening price tomorrow. Side charts, Tesla is going to be long over 400. Dkng, a long over 44. SBUX, SBUX, looking for a long over 86 or 87, depending on where you want to set your alert. And Netflix, possible short below the support line here at 470. Thank you guys for your time. I'm going to get into some of these side charts you've been typing up.